Welcome to Blue Sky Automotive. This is episode 2 on this head job. This is a 2001 Ford F250 with the V10. So we're pulling heads. If you didn't see the first episode, be sure to watch that. I'll post a link. That was just basically getting this whole front of the vehicle off so we can have just better access. So in this, we will be pulling off the peripherals, hoses, pulleys, fans, belts, intake will be coming off in this one as well. All the electrical connectors and everything will be coming off. So just the peripherals. I recommend at this point, we probably won't get to the exhaust in this episode, but just douse them right now with a penetrating fluid. Just douse them real good. Let them soak while we're pulling everything else off. All right, well, let's get to it. For best access to the exhaust bolts, we take this fender well off, and there's a couple bolts that hold it in. You just look around and you can see where they are. So this whole thing comes off, and then we have perfect access to our exhaust bolts. It's not the most malleable piece, but it comes out like that. You just have to bend and torque it, and it'll come out of this little lip, and it'll slide out the rest of the way. The only difference on the passenger side is you have these 3 bolts that come off. They're 11 millimeter or 7/16, whichever one you got. But those come off. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it comes off the same as the driver's side. So now that the fender's off, you can see the exhaust bolts. So we'll go ahead and douse those all really well with some penetrating fluid. So I wanted to pull the fan clutch off first, but I don't have the right tool for it. I don't have the right size, so we're gonna rent one from the auto parts store, waiting for it to get here. In the meantime, let's just start pulling off what we can. So as I'm tearing this all apart, it's becoming apparent that this is not this engine's first rodeo. Of course, you know, this is obvious to see, but these are held in through these homemade brackets. Possibly the spark plugs blew out on these and took out its ability to use the factory bolts, but either way, those are on there. Every single injector was broken. So the connector here, not the injector, sorry, but the connector, it doesn't lock in. So they were all just pushed on, and that was it. So same on this side. This first one, you can look at it just all came apart because, I don't know if you can see that black stuff, they had glued the connector on the injector. So it was not coming off. In the process of trying to get it off, it just blew apart. So definitely gonna need a new connector there. Hopefully there's a junkyard that has one of these, or just Ford, because these connectors are the same on the 5.4 as well, so not a big deal. What else? That's pretty much it. at least this top part of this engine has been pulled off at one point. Okay, there's a couple connectors I can't get off at the moment, but instead of struggling, the tool came, so let's get this fan off, because that's just a pain bending over it. Fan clutch is a 48 millimeter. Should be standard threads. A few whacks. Should just come off. Dusty. All right, there we go. All right, my phone said it ran out of storage, so you didn't get to see what I did, but I just took the alternator off. I got a couple of those clips that I couldn't get off, those connectors I mean. So we are very close to getting this intake off. What I'm doing right now is looking to see if this fuel rail can come off with the intake, or if the fuel rail has to come off, intake out, because it looks like it connects in the back. There's a fuel pressure regulator in the back behind all this, and it may not be something I can get to, but let's find out. Keep working away. Well, here we are. We got the intake off. Taking the fuel rail off the intake, I feel, was the smart move. Once we unbolted it, there's a hidden bolt here for the fuel pressure regulator, kind of like bracket. But once you take that off, it's just an 8 millimeter. And then the 4 on the sides, 2, then 2. It separates, comes off, gave me no trouble. Wanted to hang up a little, but you just push it out of the way, maneuver it, and it comes right out. Well, there you go. That's the end of part 2 for this head job. Some takeaways. Again, a tool like this helps get hoses off. I have one of these again. Electric ratchet just makes quick work of all these bolts. As you saw, this has been dismantled at least to where we are in the past. So there were some connectors that were broken. One was glued, kind of weird, but maybe when they pushed it in, it wouldn't stay in, so they put a little something on it. And there you go. So we're gonna have to go to the junkyard, get another connector, solder it on for that, at least that one. What else? The fan is, you know, couple of whacks with the hammer. It was 48 millimeter for that. Really not much. Not much that you're dealing with. The EGR pipe, you just need to disconnect it from the top. You do not need to disconnect it from the exhaust manifold, at least at this point. We may in the future, but right now, just off of the EGR valve itself is all that pipe needs to come undone. That's it. If I think of something, I'll put it on the beginning of the next video. Well, like, subscribe, be sure to watch the part number 3 coming up. See you on the next one.